Good evening and welcome to another Holy Encounter. I guess if we were just teaching Advaita Vedanta, we'd say, welcome to another satsang. But I don't know if anyone here can sing, so let's rather just keep it to a talk. I very often question why I do this. Often. Why am I sharing this on YouTube? Why am I hosting a Zoom meeting once a week? Yet when I'm busy writing down the communication, the direct communication I'm getting when I abide in self and connect with the Lord God of my being, it wants to be shared. And then it gets to the end of the week and I once again question, why am I doing this? Especially since I'm saying nothing different to what many of the sages that have come before all of us have said and are still saying. So let me ask you a question. If I was to tell you that tonight will make absolutely zero difference in your life, would you believe me? Because it shouldn't. Nothing I say here is going to change the quality of your life. Unless, of course, you apply it directly, the principles of what I'm sharing, to your own experience, and it then gives you a positive affirmation that what I've said is indeed true. For example, if I tell you that the miracle that brings us into right mindedness ends the joke, which it is, a joke of dualistic ideologies and all those spiritualized nonsense that we get taught in the myriad of spiritual disciplines there are. Would you believe me? We live in a world of positive psychology. What if I told you that being permanently positive while you appear as a projected image in your dreaming mind will do absolutely nothing for the awakening of the collective mind at all? In actual fact, no different to its dualistic counterpart, total negativity, will just keep you and all of us bound by the belief in positive and negative is true, the yin and the yang, the masculine, the feminine. The very belief that the masculine father god or the feminine mother goddess or whatever, the minute you make that distinction, the minute you buy into the concept of yin yang as a reality, the yin yang, the duality of yin yang becomes your reality and is our reality. The symbolic sign of the yin yang is not a spiritual sign. It's actually a scientific sign showing what quantum is proving today, that everything is polarized. And if you go into the deepest depth of subatomic particles, eventually you get to nothing, and therefore nothing actually exists. What if I told you that by abiding in silent stillness frequently, at least 3 times a day, for the amount of time you can afford, which should really be 10% of your day if you put all 3 sessions together, that abiding in silent stillness with the intent of abiding in God or with God without any thought, allowing it to come and go without buying into a single thought, observing without engaging, is the only way that you can return to your natural state of miracle mindedness or unity awareness, thereby overcoming all your preconceived, ignorant, wrong-minded, spiritualized religious concepts, and thereby gaining a deeper and deeper awareness of your true essential nature, which is bringing you into the recognition of the absolute reality you share with the Lord God of your being, with the source of all creation, is really the only way that you're going to get it. Abide in silent stillness, the ultimate truth. What if I told you that was true? Would you believe me? You shouldn't unless you're practicing it. You shouldn't believe anything I say. No matter what I say, please don't believe me. And the sad thing and the sad truth about that is, unfortunately, people don't even try and apply what I share. And the sad thing is, what I share is exactly the same thing that the Buddha, Nisargadatta, Jesus, Krishna, the Advaita Vedanta, the Upanishads, the Mahavakyas, these teachings have been around forever. Be still and know I am. Be thyself knowingly. Abide in silent stillness. The I am leads to silent stillness, which is the absolute reality we share with God. These are wonderful concepts, and they've been taught throughout the ages, and I'm just repeating them in my own strange South African roguish cowboy way. The reason people listen to the teachers is they want to be identified with the seeker. They want to be identified with the spiritual seeker. Every other path has failed them. And so what happens is they go from one retreat to the next, or one YouTube video to the next, or one spiritual book to the next, and nothing changes. In A Course in Miracles, it says, how many minds does it take to awaken the world? And the answer is, of course, one mind. The mistake we make is to think that mind could be an individualized character. If that was the case, someone like Jesus would have awoken the entire dream, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. We would have once again melted into one indivisible, undifferentiated self, which is the extension of God. So it's not one individual mind character. It's one mind that dreams is all it takes. Why? Because only one mind is dreaming. The greatest fear, of course, is not dying. You've heard me say this a million times. It's the fear of not ever existing as an individual and then returning to spirit world, la la land, and it's all just white light, and there's not a single individual because all there is light, God, you. It's the reason we fell asleep. It wasn't enough. Like an innocent child, we wanted more, and we still do, which is why we're still appearing here, because our greatest fear, besides never having existed, is that existence, which is just life extending, is meaningless and pointless and just not worth living. What would be the point of everything is just light and peace? What happens to the shag, marry, kill? What happens to the excitement? What happens to the adventure? Well, what happens is you get that because that's what you want, and with it comes the polarization, the yin yang, the good, bad, the useful and the useless, the right, the wrong, the light, the dark, the holy shit, and oh fuck. Let me ask you an important question. Yeah, you're all listening to me. Why are you listening to me? Why are you here again? It's Sunday evening. Well, maybe Sunday morning for some of you. Maybe for you watching this on YouTube, it's midweek. Why are you listening to me? I've told you, I'm clinically insane. Mad as a fucking hatter. Roguish as a Texan cowboy. Why listen to me? What am I possibly going to tell you that Jesus hasn't said before? Or actually never said anything, but was written about what he said? Or Ramana Maharishi quite recently, or Papaji, Nisargadatta, Neem Karoli Baba, Ram Das, Meister Eckhart, Eckhart Tolle. What am I saying that they haven't said and are saying in their own individual, slightly different way, of course? The analytical mind is, yeah, but he said consciousness and she said awareness, and therefore he must be wrong and she must be right. That's the analytical ego. What am I going to tell you that hasn't been said in total clarity over and over again? But you can listen and read every single work of every single sage throughout time, and at best you'll get an understanding, but transcendence won't come until you go within and that holy instant. A beautiful last message. This holy instant I give to you, be you in charge that I may follow you, certain completely certain that in your direction inward, I will be peace. I will know peace. I am peace. Why are you still listening to me? What is it that you are still missing? Because you're missing something. If you weren't missing something, you certainly wouldn't be wasting your time listening to this rambling fool, really. And you live in the first world, most of you. Are you listening to some third world African, deepest, darkest Africa country? Why? What do you think I got that you don't have? Why are you here wasting time listening to me? Perhaps you think there's still something missing with you. Perhaps you think I can give it to you. I promise you, I cannot give you anything. I cannot help you. It's not that you're beyond help. Well, some of you. It's that I don't see you as someone who needs help. I don't see anyone as someone that needs help. I see all of us as refractions and light of ourselves. And don't worry, I'm not seeing blue auras around people. I'm still seeing the physical. We need to still see the physical. We need to still see the duality in order to recognize the non-dual, the unity awareness, the neti-neti, the recognition of what we are through the experience of what we're not. Don't let anyone tell you that when they became enlightened, everything was just white and they saw auras around everything. Aura is an illusion. An appearance of a Jesus is an illusion, an appearance of an angel. If it appears and disappears, it's an illusion. It's not never was never real. It's a temporal construct of a mind asleep projecting perhaps a reflection of reality, an echo of the truth, but the fact that it appears and disappears and is shrouded in light and angel music is still an illusion. Don't listen to me. Don't believe a single word I tell you. I wouldn't. I wouldn't listen to myself. I've never listened to a single video of my own. Never. Of course I wouldn't. Why would I? But at least apply it. And what am I teach? Abide in silent stillness, offer gratitude. And in your waking hours, see it as a continuous opportunity to recognize your shadows and do the shadow work. The shadow work. What's the shadow work? Shadow work is simply recognizing the unwounded parts of ourselves, the wounded parts of ourselves, that unhealed parts of ourselves that need to be forgiven. Because there's no point in practicing forgiveness until you recognize what it is you are forgiving. And what are you forgiving? Your so-called shadows, which are pure illusions. Because by recognizing the reason I'm angry is never over the reason I think I am. I'm angry. I react to triggers because there's a part of myself that as a child experienced whatever it was, abandonment, rejection, unworthiness. And now when someone reacts in a similar way, I react to that childhood wound, which, by the way, wasn't created when you were a child. It was imprinted in you by your own making when you projected into form. It was actually formed at the very inception when you chose to fall asleep. You fell asleep. You forgot what you were. God called you light into the dream that made you recognize space-time illusion. It made you contemplate on what you were. You then exploded into all directions and made manifest yourself as an illusionary universe in which you projected your forgetfulness, and through making manifest yourself as what appears to be a universe, you then started playing with space-time and light in order to recognize what you are through the experience of what you're not. No sooner did you make manifest fractures of yourself that had forgotten what you were, what did you do? You imagined something created you, and as you made manifest, and at the same time simultaneously destroyed and remanifested, you imagined that what made you, created you, was going to do the same to you, and then the idea of fear came into your dream. Now you kept manifesting and remanifesting, destroying and recreating or remaking yourself from a place of fear, thinking that if you made it perfect, you could appease whatever made you, but you couldn't remember what created you. And so you continued to make manifest out of fear. And eventually you got to a stage where you made manifest sentient beings, some green, some purple, some with beady beady beep, and some looked like us, human monkeys. And yet the fear remained. Why? Because at the fundamental core of what you are, you couldn't remember it. And so you imagined, and imagination is the mother of all fuck-ups. Nothing was a greater fuck-up than I am age nations. Imagination. That's it. Your imagination gets you into shit. Your imagination is your fantasy. What has fantasy done but got you into deep shit? Maybe 11 minutes of pleasure, certainly 30 fucking years of hell thereafter. And in between, crying babies and school fees. What am I telling you that Buddha hasn't told you, that Brahmana hasn't told you, that Neem Karali Baba hasn't told you, that Rupert Spira doesn't tell you, that Eckhart Tolle doesn't tell you, that David Hoffmeister hasn't said before? What am I telling you? What do you want to listen to me for? They're a lot more polite than I am. The truth is simple. The application thereof takes commitment to yourself. You see, let's take a step back. And after this manifestation of this deep within you, because you couldn't remember that which created you, you felt abandoned. You felt rejected. You felt unworthy. And you felt guilty. You think you did something wrong. And you thought you were going to be punished. And subsequent to those streams of unrealistic thoughts, every manifestation you've made hereafter, you, the dreamer, take full responsibility. You've done this. And what appears as your body mind is but one localization of all of you. But if you can at least recognize that which dreams and this which appears as you, both are the dreamer. Now you can start healing self and thus being the light that saves the world. And saves means put it the fuck away. Put it away is what save means. Put it away. And be thyself knowingly. Be the light you came here to remember. Be the light you came here to be. That's it. And listen to me. Stop listening right now. Switch the fucking device off. Go sit silently and just ask to be shown. The truth is within you. It's within you. You've heard this. Every teacher's told you. Why do you want to listen to me tell you that? If you don't recognize, take a deep breath, sit, silent stillness. That's it. That's the essential nature of what you are. And when that silent stillness moves through you, joy. And take it back to stillness, peace. Extended joy. Sit, peace. Enjoy and peace triangulate. Unconditional acceptance of what is. This is what all the non-dual blah, blah, blah love to say. It's just what is. Well, what is what is? Peace is what is. Appearing as this nightmare of biblical distortions. Why are you listening to me? I keep repeating myself over and over again, and I guess I'm refining the way I'm putting it across, but I still do not have short sentences. Me narratively trying to explain to you the essence of self, the experience, the holy instant of absolute reality is just words, symbols twice removed, pointless. Yes, it's pointing you to go there, but it's still, without you going there, it's still just words. At best, it's going to give you a slightly different version of yourself, something you can share with others when you try and explain the nature of being. But unless you are living it compassionately as that which you are, it just sounds like preaching. And fuck, are preachers annoying unless they rev it up. The truth deludes us because we understand it. We stand under it, but we never transcend it. Within us all, there's an anxiety. Who in this world doesn't feel anxiety? It's now, it's like modern anxiety is growing. Of course it is. Awareness grows. And if awareness is growing, conscious awareness is growing, but we're still trapped in the duality of this fucking mess we made. Of course, the anxiety between the glimpse into the echoes of eternity, which we gain, and everyone is gaining around the world right now, the quickening. Here comes Highlander number 7. And the duality reality, or duality unreality. And so, because the gap between the duality unreality and the infinite lightness of being, a glimpse into the holy instant we had, seems to be further and further apart, like an elastic band, what do we feel as you pull that elastic band? The anxiety. And where's it coming from? Where's anxiety coming from? Oh, the doctor will tell you it's in your shoulders and in your spleen and in your spine and in your Uranus. But it isn't. It's in your void. It's a void that you avoid. Why? Because it's boring. It's quiet and it's going to be meaningless and pointless. And if I go there and awaken to self, then shag, marry, kill will have no meaning. And I still want to be loved. What we really want to be done is, do we want to be contained in love, contained in God's love, while we embody mind, contained in holy relationship. But containment, unless clarity is understood, because the God feminine is going to resist being contained because it's too much like ownership. Containment means total acceptance of being and showing up for one another and serving one another. That's it. When a man and a woman in this duality of illusion are contained by one another, think of a pot plant. It's contained in the pot plant. Think of this Jack Daniels. It's contained in the glass. It's safe in there. The glass breaks. It's no longer contained. And the container feels worthy because it's allowed to contain. We yearn for containment. Or while we're bodies, we yearn to be contained by one another, not controlled, not owned. And containment plays out in a variety of ways. 5 love languages. The truth deludes us because we're afraid of it. We think it's going to be boring once we're there. I guarantee you it's not, but don't believe me, because I could just be making it up. Let me remind you again, everyone teaches the same thing. Turn inwards, abide in self. Gratitude, grateful silent stillness. Return wholeheartedly, completely willing to dissolve all this, forget you've ever existed, to die in an instant and just return to light, never remembering any of this existence ever. Heart temple, return to the void. It's not empty. It's not filled with anxiety. The anxiety is the resistance. You put a lid on it, get it open. Open it up, abide there. And abide in the empty fullness of self, empty of illusions, fullness of true absolute reality, which I cannot explain other than to tell you it's delicious. It's, it's a new word for me. Just by abiding and affirm the recognition, understanding, I am. That's it. It's an understanding. I am. This little I that thought I was this and I was that and did this and that, I now am just I am, full stop. God is, full stop. Gratitude, and abide there. How long, Lou? How long must I abide there? Be willing to abide there for fucking ever, if need be. The script is written. All that's going to happen while you're playing out however many scripts you still have left. And there are going to be a few gazillion. Okay. Not you as the individual, but you as the eternal essence that dreams. And remember, until the entire dreaming mind is awake, you are still part of that collective ooze that dreams, whether you appear as you or however many yous you still think you're going to appear. It's still all of it is you until everyone awakens. And everyone means everyone dissolves, and that which dream awakens, this dream will continue. And that which dissolves and the body dies and returns to the spirit world and comes back down is going to experience it over and over again. And that reason you can't remember being you is because it's not you that comes back, but a part of you with a part of everything else that gets mixed together in a ooze like a lava lamp. And then there's another little glob. You're right now, as you stand there listening to me, you're a makeup of thousands of pre-incarnated beings, which have genetically collected ooze and given it to you. And now you've projected this plasma called the body mind. Plasma sounds sexy. Ooh, we were onto something. Plasma. Remember, there's nothing you can do or I can do or any of these teachings can do to speed up the script. It's written. It's over. The movie's over. You're watching a movie. You're not going to change the script by shouting at the screen, by resisting the screen, by shining a light on the screen. It's still the movie. It's playing out. There's absolutely nothing you can do to change it, except that which is the essence of what you are, awareness, can return to being aware of being aware. And now, no matter what plays out on the screen, this jiva, this character, this puppet, projected by the mind that is dreaming it out, spat out of itself into an holographic plasmic universe, recognizes I am this. I am that which dreams. I am the character. I'm all characters. And I'll play out my script with all the fervor and all the passion of the Christ I am. I'll show up. I'll serve where I can. I'll observe and I'll be myself knowingly. And I will not buy into those broadcasted signals, the noisy radio of my dreaming mind. Ignore, abide. To whom do they appear? We now know. We don't need to do that again. They appear to no one. Where do they come from? Nowhere. An illusion isn't a place. An illusion isn't a space. It's a nothing. And what appears is just a projection of my true self in a forgotten version of what I am. Son, are you still here listening to me? Hopefully by now you're bored. Switch this fucking thing off. Go sit. Go be quiet. What am I going to tell you that hasn't been said before? You are the Son of God. You fell asleep. You dreamt this up. You've projected into the localization you think you are and everything else throughout the entire fucking universe. All of it is you. And what are you here to do? To recognize that you're not projecting it out and blaming the other fractures for being a victim of the world. Take full responsibility for being the dreamer. Take full responsibility in glad acceptance. I am the Holy Son of God. I am this. I am all of it. I am God is. Thank you. What else? What am I going to tell you that hasn't been said before a million times? All life is suffering. Suffering can be overcome. To overcome suffering, we need to denounce our ignorance. We need to be awake to self. And don't get dispassionate about the world. It'll happen on its own. Don't force it away. Don't push it away. Don't go and be the recluse. Unless you're naturally that way. Unless you're naturally the one that hangs out at kitchens at parties. That's one. The art of being a wallflower. But just be yourself. And what must I do? You do whatever you want to do. Oh, I want to be a spiritual teacher. Well, then be one. You think it's going to make you happy? Only until you get your first student. And then they expect something from you. Establish yourself in spirit, not body mind. Everybody identifies as something nowadays, right? I'm not a parent, but I definitely identify as a parent, so I'm transparent. I identify as transparent. Most of all, I identify myself as spirit because spirit is transparent too. Woke police. You're not a body. You're not this. I'm not a CEO. I'm not a spiritual teacher. I'm not an author. The other things I do. It's irrelevant. Timekeeping, non-events. It's always up to you how you choose to see it. That's the only choice you have. Do I choose to be vigilant and catch the urge, the attack thought? No thanks. Okay, it's a trigger. I've healed it. I've recognized what it is. It's done. Do you think that once you recognize the wound, the shadow, the hidden shadow, you recognize where it comes from as a body in this body, mind in this life of yours, and you even recognize that it comes from having fallen asleep and dreamt up of separation, sin, fear, guilt? Do you think the attack thought stops now that you're awake to self? Do you think they just magically go away? No, they don't. Even Jesus, hours before he was killed, or days before he was killed, Garden Gethsemane, to go and pray, even then, that little fucking devil came and tempted him. And she was wearing the red dress, and she had the whole low cut top and the high heel shoes and the stilettos and the fishnet stockings and smoking a cigar. Even then, she tempted him. Doesn't stop. Even one of our greatest teachers ever existed, and hence so much has been written about him narratively, Jesus Christ, Christ Jesus. You think the recognition of self and him made his life wonderfully perfect after that? No, he experienced the worst cruelty in the world. So what makes you think that when you awaken to self, the world will stop wanting to crucify you? The script is written. But even when he lay hanging nailed to the cross, he said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." Or more accurately, he said, well, there's actually nothing to forgive. You now all know this is a holographic universe, like a projector projecting an image onto a screen, and the screen is the white mists of innocence we all are. The awareness is the screen. The projection is the dreaming mind. You're watching the movie from the end, but you're watching it over and over again, every single instant. Why? Because you haven't forgiven self for having dreamt this up. You still blame God for allowing you to fall asleep. And yet, you little shit, you want the freedom of choice. And God has given it to you, and henceforth allowed you to dream up this biblical disaster. You now know that whatever you feel or think about yourself in this delusion is projected outwards, and the world is an outer appearance of an inner condition. And so if you project negativity and resistance and the hatred of self and the victim of self onto the world, and the world is to blame for your suffering, that's how the world appears. But then comes the gurus and they sell you those courses. And you go to those courses, and that's the power of the mind, and the power of observation, and the law of the attraction or detraction or attraction, fucking finding a parking spot and manifesting the man of your dreams and making millions, and the power of positive focus. And it's all just positive toxicity in its worst form. Toxic positivity, they call it. Oh, it's going to be positive. Everything's positive. And all you're doing is you suppress your wounded self and you show up all fucking happy. Aren't happy people just fucking annoying? They are, because they're not true, being false. But they learn positive, they read positive psychology, and it's positivity. I could be so happy. You would think that positive people don't experience shit. The reason they're being so positive is because they only experience shit, and they want to mask the shit with rose-colored glasses. Neither positivity nor negativity is going to transcend the stream. The forgiving of all of this is what does the awakening of self. The dreamer awakens when he recognizes I've done this to unto myself. Don't for 1 second think that when you've awoken to self, which is really scripted by God's grace, that now it just goes perfect. There's a little line in the Course of Miracles and says, now you'll see a new world. Eckhart Tolle stole that and made it the title of his book, The New World, The New Earth. It's not a new earth. There's a new way of seeing it. You're still looking upon the disaster. It just no longer triggers you. Shit still hits the fans. You still meet the 8-type souls. There are souls everywhere still while we dream. You just no longer react to them. Yes, some things you'll see as positive and exciting, and other things just don't. You're as sexy and as healthy as you've ever been. You're not getting any fucking younger. Face it. This is about as attractive as you'll ever be from now onwards. It's only going to get worse no matter how much plastic you attach to self. No matter how much you blow up your personality and dye your darkness away, the shit still shows up. And if you think it didn't show up for Jesus, he got crucified. If you think it didn't show up for Buddha, he died of bad pork, food poisoning. You think Ramana Maharishi lived a blissful, happy life? His bones were fucked. His joints were destroyed. He was in physical pain all the time. And then one day while sitting in his ashram, a bunch of thieves broke in there and beat everybody up and smacked him with a stick and broke his leg. What did Ramana Maharishi deserve to get attacked? Did he do something? No, it was scripted. Ram Dass, beautiful teachings, ended up in a wheelchair. What did he do to deserve that with a stroke? It's scripted. Had he not awoken to self before the stroke, he would have been a miserable fucking git. Watch the latest videos, or his videos of just before he passed on. He was still a ray of light, smiling. And trust me, he was going through hell. Awakening to self means you don't take any of it seriously. Not walking around being positive. I couldn't try and sound positive and happy, smiley, fucking spiritual, even if I tried, and it would seem so fucking fake. It just doesn't suit this face. This face was designed to frown and growl. This is authentic. This is it. But I'm aware of self. Of that I am. Don't believe me. Please don't. So what if I'm awake to self? How does it benefit you? Does it make my teachings any more plausible or valid? I'm saying nothing that hasn't been said before 1,000,000 times. What is missing for you? You think I'm going to give it to you? It's within you. I'm just a reminder, a reminder. What is it that you think's wrong with you? What do you think? You think unworthy, you're unwise, you're not good enough, you're not intelligent enough, good enough voice, clever enough, got a strong enough memory to recite A Course in Miracles or whatever the fuck you want to teach. Let's set your expectations right. You'll never be good enough for anything the mind conceives of while it dreams. Never. But you are perfect, more than good enough, eternally perfect for that which created you as the extension of himself, the Lord God of your being. That's what right-mindedness means, the recognition of true mind, God, extending mind, you, spirit. Miracle mindedness is a state of present moment awareness where the recognition of self as one indivisible, shared self with God is known with total clarity, complete conviction, not a shadow of a doubt, even though their appearance of shit still hits the fan. The peace of God that transcends understanding is so perfectly silent, and it's so beautifully still that nothing can contest it. Don't believe me. Go there off. Try it. Right-mindedness, while we still appear in form, means that this projection is dialed into its original source, not the projector. It's gone beyond projector. It's gone to the light with which we see right-mindedness. That's Christ consciousness. So when the jiva, the projection, remembers the essence of itself and no longer listens to the broadcasts of the wrong mind, it becomes Christ conscious, not Christ aware. Christ is awareness. Christ consciousness. In other words, we exist in consciousness as dream characters, the plasma, the screen of the dreaming mind. But we've tapped into our absolute true self, our absolute real self, absolute reality we share with God. Even though we can only maintain glimpses of it, at best, a glimpse into it every now and again, because if we were to be in it for longer than a small period of time, we would just dissolve into that light and we would not fulfill our functions, which is to bring the light and shine the light of awareness in the world, because we can't bring truth to illusions. We're going to take ourselves, rise ourselves up to the light. And then when we bask in that light of awareness, extend it while we appear to be body minds. That's it. And then we move into the observer position and realize I dream. And I am this localization and I'm all of it. Now, can I judge any of it when I've dreamt up all of it? How can I judge anything? Because if I judge, I but judge myself and thus keep myself asleep in the dream I made. And I made it in such a way so that each fracture of myself would take a certain position, a certain stance, a certain understanding, a certain political, religious ideology, and then judge the rest of it. And if I judge any of it, I but judge myself, because it is myself that dreams. And yet, if I awaken to my capital S right-minded self, this dream ends. And the more I abide with the memory of what I am, which is the extension of God's love, what I am reminds the rest of my fractured selves, I am the light in which I see, for God is the I am, and God is the light with which we see. Just last week, I asked you a question. If you could have one of three choices, and only three: worldly wisdom, spiritual wisdom, or peace, what would it be? In actual fact, I could ask you if you could have worldly love, or special love relationships, the love of your life, all the money in the world, everything you've ever wanted, everything, or peace, what would you choose? Because everything you've chosen, you've got. You chose this by your own making. You projected it into form. You're experiencing it as this localization and all 8 billion localizations right now. And you've done all of that because what you really wanted to do is deny you made a complete and total fuck up of it all. You fucked it up properly. You want to deny it and project it outwards. But what you really want, even when you meditate and escape and go on holiday, is you want peace. But you cannot have peace while you still want the tiniest piece of the fuck up you made called this illusionary universe. It's either the peace of God or it's a piece of shit. Choose wisely. That's it. The peace of God or nothing. What's everything else you've ever wanted for? Because you want to return to peace. And why do you want to return to peace? Because it is your essential nature. And do you want to return to love? You haven't got a fucking clue what love is. I haven't got a clue what love is. I know what joy is. I know what peace is. I know what being means. Is being love? I guess it is. I understand it to be so. But I've never felt love. I'd love to tell you I love you. I know I do. But I know love is the absence of you and I. Love is the absence of the distance between you and I. I've only got two feelings. I'm either horny or I'm hungry. That's it. Those are the only two feelings I've ever felt. I know what love is. And it doesn't come in 11-minute packages until we, the dreamer, the whole dreaming mind, awakens to our true, right-minded Christ self. The dualistic dream of separation, no matter how positive or how negative or how whatever we do, will flow like ebbs and tides. And just like an ocean, sometimes it's crystal clear and reflects the moon perfectly back at us. And sometimes it's just a fucking torrent of a nightmare, tsunami and just fucking shark bait. That's what it is, ebbs and flows. Sometimes it's just the blissful lightness of being, and sometimes it's just the grr, let's do it. That's it. We start to recognize illusion, reality. We start to recognize the useless and the useful. And the more we serve one another in whichever way comes natural to us, compassionately, the passion of the Christ flows through us, quicker the time disappears. And so when we're abiding in the present moment here now, timelessness, and whether there's still a 16 billion years left in the dream or not, when you abide in timelessness, it matters not how long it takes in illusion. No amount of positivity, no amount of self-help, any of this shit's going to help. Yes, it may make it temporarily nice, warm and fuzzy. You may attract the parking spot and the woman of your dreams. And she's going to bite you in the ass and give you shit. And someone's going to block you in, and you're still going to have to pay for your parking spot. No amount of positivity and happy guru talk and kumbaya singing is going to dissolve this illusion. Only the recognition of what I am, full stop, God is, and abiding in that present moment awareness where the presence of the divine is all around us and all pervading, so that you know the essence of what you are is the light of awareness. That's it. And when you no longer have the need to project and desire any of this worldly stuff, the essence of what you are returns and lights up the mind just that much more. And that's how we serve the awakening of ourselves. And that's how we bring the light to the world. And that's how we become saviors of this world, by being the light we are and were always meant to be. That's it. You've heard this before. Are you still listening to me? Close your eyes, go be still. Give gratitude, go abide. When your desire for peace and the desire to know self, to know the love of God that transcends duality, transcends separation, transcends the need for body-mind, is your greatest desire, all other desires get put down and you want them not. And whatever comes, great. But once you know self as that which is pure love, which for me is pure peace, gentle joy, total acceptance of what is. The awareness that I am you and you are me and that all of this is me. That's it. Once that recognition comes, what else is there to do? And I started this talk with the question is, I ask myself, why do I do this? How can I not do this? How can I not offer the understanding of what I am to be an example for my mirrors of what right-minded awareness seems like, what Christ-minded awareness seems like, what the cusp of enlightenment appears like while we're still in form, so that you have another road sign, another walking, talking example of what we all are. And hopefully by this roguish character showing you the peace of God that transcends understanding into the knowing of the self we are, as an example to you, you can recognize if that motherfucker can do it, so can I. That's it. That's what I'm hoping to do. And get into empathy. Do not suffer the suffering of others. Empathy is the ego's twisting of compassion. Compassion is the passion of right-minded Christ self for all its fractured selves. I see you. I understand you suffering. I understand you think you're suffering. Let me rise you up above the battlefield. Empathy, it tries to mimic, tries to mirror compassion. And what it does is, you're suffering. I suffered too. And you're both fucking drowning in a sea of fucking misery. Above the battlefield, compassion. In the fucking shark infested waters, empathy. How does that help when you're both shark bait? Compassion is the highest level of expression. Christ, right-minded, self-love expression, love of self, its fractured selves. That is the love of Christ, compassion. See it, recognize it. I know you dream. Let me rise you above the battlefield. I will not suffer with you. I will not recognize your suffering as real. I see you suffer. I will give you the whatever you need in order to recognize self. I will help you out of it. I'm not going to ask you why you've done this yourself, or tell you that you've done this yourself, and tell you that you're drawing it into yourself. I'm going to show you compassion. I'm going to show you kindness. And I'm going to lift you out of the dream. Identify with spirit. Identify with the lightness of being. What else do you want? What else could I possibly tell you that you haven't heard a million times before? What could I possibly say that's going to be that missing link that you've... Nothing I say, unless you have a direct experience thereof. What's the point? Unless you recognize that what's unique in you and unique in everybody else is illusion. And what's shared in us, what we all share equally, that's the truth. And what do we all want? We all want peace. We all want joy. We all want safety. Don't we all appreciate compassion? Don't we all appreciate someone who is honest, tolerance, guiltlessness, joy, defenselessness, generosity, patience, faithfulness, open-mindedness, kindness, trust? Yeah? Isn't that how you want to be seen? Compassion goes hand in hand with kindness. Compassion goes hand in hand with trust, with joy, with tolerance, with gentleness. Compassion is joy. It is defenseless. It is generosity. It is patient. Compassion is faithfulness. Compassion is open-minded, and it judges not. It sees, it witnesses, it judges not. What I've just mentioned are the characteristics of Christ-mindedness in A Course in Miracles. You've heard this and every other teacher that's come before me say, be thyself knowingly. How can you not know what you are? You are you. If I was to say to you right now, ask you, who's listening to me? You're going to say, I am listening to me. Me, it's me. I am listening to you. Who is this I am? Inquire. And when you inquire at the I, you realize the I is an illusion too, because I am nothing. Yet I am is just stating present moment awareness. I am this. I am that I am. And then I am. Full stop. God is. Because God is, I am. I am because God is. And even that I am dissolves, and there's just silence. Pure awareness. Without a thought, without a judgment. And that peaceful awareness, that peaceful, all-pervading state of peace extends through us, and joy becomes us. Joy and peace is the love of God. It's what I wish upon you. It's what I wish I could give you. It's what I wish I could be the peace of God with you all the time. I will this for you. I will for you the peace of God. I will my peace for you. That you could know yourself as the beautiful extension. We all are the extension of God's love. I will this for you with all my heart. Be that knowingly. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for reflecting love back at me. Thank you for being a wonderful mirror to which I can share the recognition of myself back at myself, so that we as one indivisible, undifferentiated self may remember the love of God we are. Be blessed. Have a wonderful week.